What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we're going to be talking about three penny stocks that are incredibly oversold. These things are so undervalued, it's ridiculous. They have been pushed down over the past year, and especially more recently by this extremely bloody market. During this huge downturn that we've been experiencing, these stocks have been pushed to incredibly low valuations, and I think that in 2022, they are primed to explode when some of these catalysts actually start acting for them. So first off, we're going to take a look at Sundial, and Sundial is the first stock on this list of three that we're going to be looking at. I think that Sundial Growers, and for those of you who don't know what Sundial does, they are a cannabis producing company, and they also have investments in many other cannabis related industries. So Sundial is an incredibly potentially profitable stock over the course of 2022 if a couple of key catalysts come together and work for them. So first off, cannabis legalization is in the pipeline, right? It's expected that in 2022 we will see some form of cannabis legalization at the federal level, especially now that Republicans are leading the charge, right? This is a article on a Republican-led bill to legalize and tax marijuana that's just emerged in the House earlier last month, and it's led by Republican Nancy Mace, titled the States Reforms Act, and there are a bunch of different things in this bill talking about cannabis being federally descheduled and treated similar to alcohol, a small excise tax that will be placed on it. I won't go through the whole thing because it's not too relevant to understand why Sundial will rise from this news. Obviously, Sundial would be doing very well if cannabis was made legal in the United States. Currently, it's a Canadian trading company, so it's only available in Canada at the moment. However, they are recently expanding into the U.S. They're taking public one of their joint ventures, Sunstream, a cannabis investment company. This company is going to be IPOing sometime soon, sometime in the first quarter of 2022. And what this company focuses on, and the reason that they're going to be IPOing, is because they want to attain some proceeds from this IPO to invest primarily in the debt of U.S. cannabis companies across the cannabis industry. So they're essentially planning ahead of time to get into the U.S. markets before cannabis is even legal. They're doing it through this joint venture known as Sunstream. And you can see on the chart that Sundial has been much higher than they are now. Currently, they're sitting at 55 cents. And in the past, they were trading over $4. If you look back at the past 360 days, you can see that Sundial was at one point trading as high as $4.87 right here, just under a year ago. So Sundial really has the potential to explode, and they weren't even being legalized on that news, right? That was just on hopes that they would be potentially legalized, and also on a meme-driven rally from Wall Street Bets. A bunch of people from Wall Street Bets came in and started pumping up Sundial stock, and I think that could definitely happen again if we get another chance, another shot at legalization, especially if this bill actually passes, which I think would be incredible for Sundial stock price. We could really see a big explosion in 2022 as things start to look more bullish, and if we do, then there are a ton of shorts in Sundial stock at the moment. Over 300 million shares are short on Sundial stock. It's about 14.81% of the free float. So we could also potentially squeeze out some shorts, because the last time that we saw Sundial's price rise dramatically, there were not very many shorts in. That's what this yellow line is tracking. It's tracking the number of shorts that are in Sundial, and you can see it's steadily been increasing as you have it overlaid with the price. However, it wasn't very high until after the price of Sundial had already spiked. So if Sundial's price spiked now that we have so many shorts in it, we could definitely see a short squeeze, which could potentially pump Sundial up even further. Now, the next stock that we're going to talk about is NAKD, Naked Brands Group, and this is a very promising stock for a couple of reasons. First off, it also had a meme-driven rally in early January and February. It had highs of $3.40 just about. Right now, it is also sitting in a very similar position as Sundial. It's sitting at 54 cents, and I think this one could also do very well over the course of 2022 because they are changing their business model significantly. They are currently, if you look at their site, leaders in intimate apparel and swimwear. So that's reason to be excited for them. But that's not the only thing they've got going for them. In fact, that's not the main thing that they're going to be doing in 2022. In fact, they're about to actually acquire Centro Automotive in exchange for stock. And Centro Automotive is an incredibly impressive EV company. They actually have over 3,300 vehicles delivered. They're a commercial EV company, and they have more commercial electric vehicles on the road than any other EV company out there. So they are currently, even just earlier this week, they had another order for another 2,000 vehicles from Japan, from Japanese companies that are expected to begin being delivered in January 2022. So they've certainly got some catalysts coming for them, and we are expecting this merger to happen hopefully sometime by the end of this year. NAKD will acquire Central Automotive, so they could definitely be moving up in the future as soon as investors really wrap their heads around the changing of this business model. And there's also a very interesting pattern that's been going on with NAKD over the past couple of months, and you can see it right here. It's essentially this pattern of higher highs as well as higher lows. You can see we just actually broke this pattern due to the bloody markets that we've been experiencing the past couple of days. Unfortunately, NAKD did break the pattern, but I think that everything at the moment is being pushed down by the overall market fears and the sentiment, the worries about the pandemic potentially creeping up and maybe more lockdowns coming, as well as some inflation fears. A lot of people are very fearful of all kinds of investments. So surely Naked stock has suffered quite a bit from this, and they are a little bit lower than I think they should be. In addition to the fact that they have this pattern going for them, I think that if they could potentially benefit from the markets recovering, when the markets start to recover, if they end up recovering with them, I think they could really shoot up in 2022 and kind of continue this pattern, even though it did somewhat break itself right here, where you see we did make lower lows than we saw before. We could potentially shoot back up come 2022 once this company merges with Central Automotive and they have some more stuff going for them. I think that we could really see some good stuff from Naked Brands. So that's another exciting one. And the third company that we're going to talk about today is Mind Medicine, ticker symbol MNMD. Now, this is one that I find very exciting, very compelling over the long term, and it is a little bit more expensive. It's $1.85 per share. So it's not technically a penny stock, but it is a very impressive stock nevertheless. It has been pushed down dramatically. It hit highs of $8.21 at one point, and now it's sitting at $1.82. So about a quarter of what it was trading at before. I think this one could really shoot up in 2022. I think that could be a good year for it, because what this company does is they actually work with psychedelic medicines and experiential therapies. And I think that's going to be a big industry going forward. I think that currently a lot of people try to deal with their issues with traditional medications, and we all know those can oftentimes have nasty side effects and can sometimes be bad for your health. They can have horrible side effects for some people, depending on who you are. And traditional therapy it can be beneficial, but it's also very time consuming. I think that potentially there is a big industry that has not really been tapped into yet with these psychedelic treatments, which are currently, I will say, for the most part, psychedelics are illegal in the United States. However, obviously they're allowed some exceptions when they're doing research and development, and this company actually has more studies going on than any other psychedelic research company. And you can see right here, when Kevin O'Leary started investing in this company, he actually did some research into them and posted this tweet that said, MindMed surpasses Compass Pathways as the largest publicly traded psychedelic company, Psychedelic Invest. I speculate this is happening because MNMD has more clinical trials in their portfolio in pharma that matters. So Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, if you don't know who that is, he's this guy from Shark Tank. You've surely seen him before. He's also from a bunch of other things. He's a pretty famous guy. But he is a big investor in MNMD. He is betting on over the long term. He thinks that they're going to be doing very well, especially as this industry becomes more accepted, as it begins to grow potentially in 2022. 2021 was an okay year for them. They didn't do incredibly well, but they didn't do too poorly regarding where they started or where they ended 2020. They were pretty darn close. They were around $1.57 near the end of 2020, and now they're at $1.84. So they have been doing somewhat well, although they have been much, much higher. So I think that this company really has some room to grow, especially as some of those clinical trials come to an end, and they can potentially start rolling out some treatments and actual services that they can provide. As soon as they can start collecting revenue, that's when we'll actually put them to the test and see how well they're going to do over the long term. But those are the three stocks that I think are going to be doing incredibly well in 2022. Those are my three personal favorites that I think have been beaten down over the past couple of months, are incredibly undervalued, and I think there's real room for those stocks to explode in the coming years. So that's what I've got for you on those. If you appreciated this video, then feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. But other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.